Have you ever noticed how walking up the stairs feels just a bit harder than it used to? Or maybe you've bent down to pick something up, your keys, a sock, and realized it takes more effort, more breath, more time. You pause for a moment, wondering, why does this feel so heavy? If that sounds familiar, I want you to know you are not alone, and more importantly, you are not broken. That slow, creeping loss of leg strength, the subtle tightness in the calves, the stiffness in the knees, it's something many people over 60 feel, and too often we're told to just accept it. It's age, they say. But what if I told you it's not just age? What if your legs aren't giving out because you're getting older, but because of something you're unknowingly eating every day? Something you believed was helping you, but might actually be holding you back. Because here's what I've discovered after decades in medicine. There is a way to support your joints, nourish your muscles, and reclaim your confidence on every staircase. And it begins with something as simple and as delightful as fruit. Yes, fruit, not pills, not pain creams, not physical therapy schedules you don't have the energy for. Just knowing which fruits heal and which might hurt. I'm Dr. James Rowan. And after 30 years as a physician, working with patients from their 40s to their 90s, let me tell you something I've seen over and over again. The most powerful medicine. It doesn't always come from a pharmacy. It often starts in the kitchen. What you eat can be the greatest ally to your independence, or the quiet cause behind those tired legs you've been blaming on time. I've sat with veterans who thought they needed a cane until we changed just 3 things on their plate. I've walked beside widows who thought their knees were done for until we swapped 2 fruits for something gentler. And I've helped thousands find comfort again, not through radical changes, but with small, simple shifts that make every step feel possible again. Here's the science behind it. As we age, our metabolism slows down. That's expected. But did you know our kidneys also become less efficient, our blood vessels more sensitive, our response to natural sugars and acids changes? According to the Mayo Clinic and the National Institutes of Health, this metabolic shift can make once beneficial fruits, yes, even the juicy, colorful, nutritious ones, a surprising source of inflammation and circulation problems. It's not about fear, it's about understanding. And when we understand, we can begin to reclaim our strength. Because the fruits we're about to talk about, you probably have at least one of them in your kitchen right now. They look harmless. They smell amazing. And yes, they've been praised for decades as healthy. But for older adults, especially those already dealing with joint pain, fatigue, or poor circulation, these fruits could be quietly working against you. That's why in today's episode of Senior Health Hub, I'll reveal 7 common fruits that may be draining your energy, weakening your legs, and inflaming your joints. But don't worry, I'm not here to take your fruit away. I'm here to give you better options. We'll explore how each of these fruits interacts with your body over 60, who should be most cautious, and what healing alternatives you can enjoy instead with flavor, safety, and confidence. This isn't about restriction, it's about liberation. Because when your legs feel strong, you walk taller, you get out of the car easier, you chase your grandkids, you sleep better, you stand longer in the garden, you reclaim the life you love. All of that from fruit? Yes, it starts here. So take a deep breath with me. Maybe grab a pen and a warm drink. Because what I'm about to share might finally explain why your knees feel stiffer in the morning, or why your calves seem to cramp more after that short walk to the mailbox. And the best part, every change we'll talk about today is small, gentle, doable, but the results, they're powerful. Welcome to Senior Health Hub, where science meets simplicity and your best years are still unfolding. Let's begin. Have you ever sat down after a pleasant walk around the block, only to find your knees aching more than usual? Or maybe you've woken up in the morning feeling like your calves have tightened overnight, despite not doing anything strenuous the day before. These aren't just signs of aging. They may be signals from your body asking you to pay closer attention. Now here's the twist. What if those signals were being triggered not by overexertion, but by what's sitting in your fruit bowl? Take pineapple, for example. Sweet, juicy, golden pineapple. It's a fruit many of us associate with summer, tropical vacations, and healthy eating. We've been told it's anti-inflammatory, rich in vitamin C, and packed with bromelain, an enzyme that supposedly soothes our tissues. But what if I told you that very enzyme and the sugars surrounding it could be doing more harm than good to your legs? Let's break it down. Pineapple is naturally high in sugar and citric acid. When you're young, your body processes those elements quickly and without complaint. But over 60, your metabolism slows, your digestive efficiency changes, and your blood vessels, especially the small ones feeding your legs, become more fragile. According to the National Institute on Aging, blood flow to the extremities can decrease with age. An elevated sugar or acidic content in the bloodstream can compound those challenges. This means pineapple's innocent sweetness may cause a surge in blood sugar, leading to a drop in circulation to your legs, fatigue in your muscles, and even inflammation in your joints. I remember Helen, a 74-year-old retired teacher who came to me with daily swelling in her ankles and an unexplained heaviness in her legs. Her diet was clean, her lifestyle active. But every morning she began her day with a bowl of pineapple. We switched it for papaya. Within 2 weeks, the swelling eased. Her morning walks became pleasant again, and she looked at me with a kind of relief I'll never forget. "Doctor Rowan," she said, "I thought I was falling apart. I didn't know it was just the fruit. Pineapple is also acidic, and that acid isn't just hard on your stomach. It affects your joints. If you already have arthritis or joint stiffness, pineapple can act like a match thrown into dry grass. It irritates inflamed areas, adds stress to joint linings, and can trigger flares of pain. You might notice it as a dull throb in your knees after eating, or a sense that your hips or ankles just aren't gliding the way they used to. Then there's bromelain. This enzyme is often marketed as a health booster, and in moderation, it can help with digestion. But here's the catch. Bromelain can interact with common medications, especially blood thinners like warfarin. The Mayo Clinic warns that mixing bromelain with these medications can either enhance their effects too much, raising your risk of bruising and bleeding, or reduce their efficacy, leaving you vulnerable. And here's the cruel part. The effects are subtle. You don't bite into pineapple and feel immediate pain. You feel it a few hours later as an ache. You feel it the next morning as stiffness. You feel it next week when your usual walk feels like a mountain climb. You see, for aging bodies, it's not about how a food makes you feel right now. It's about how it makes you function over time. And for many over 60, pineapple silently chips away at that function. Now, I'm not saying never eat pineapple again. That's not my message. I believe in moderation and in listening to your unique body. But here's what I recommend. If you're currently experiencing joint inflammation, chronic leg fatigue, or unexplained swelling, remove pineapple for 2-3 weeks. Notice the difference. And if you want to reintroduce it, do so sparingly, a few small chunks with a fat like yogurt, never on an empty stomach. Better still, replace pineapple with anti-inflammatory fruits like papaya, cherries, or a ripe pear. Papaya in particular is rich in papain, a gentler enzyme that aids digestion without the same acidity. It's soothing, soft, and perfect for older digestive systems. It's also about timing. Never eat acidic fruits like pineapple late at night or first thing in the morning. These are times when your stomach lining is most vulnerable and your joints have the least flexibility. The best time, if you must indulge, midday. And always paired with something that slows digestion. Because aging well isn't about cutting joy. It's about choosing peace, peace in your knees, peace in your calves, peace in your mornings. So the next time you're about to slice that pineapple, ask yourself, is this feeding my joy or stealing my strength? Because every juicy cube of fruit carries more than flavor, it carries consequence. And the good news, once you learn how to listen to your body and choose with intention, you begin to feel better, one bite at a time. Have you ever felt your legs turn to lead halfway through the grocery store? You set out feeling fine, a quick trip for milk and eggs, but by aisle 3, your calves begin to feel heavy. Your knees seem slower. You find yourself leaning harder on the cart, silently wondering, why is this so exhausting? It's easy to assume it's age. It's even easier to blame it on bad sleep or not enough walking the day before. But what if the true reason was what you had for breakfast that morning? What if your go-to healthy fruit, the soft, sweet, potassium-rich banana, is slowly draining the energy from your legs? Yes, bananas. The darling of doctors, runners, and morning smoothies alike. Now, don't get me wrong. Bananas are not evil. They have a place in nutrition, especially for growing bodies and marathon runners. But for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and beyond, bananas can become a quiet saboteur. Let's begin with the sugar. One medium banana contains about 14 grams of sugar. That may not sound like much, but the form of sugar in bananas, particularly fructose and glucose, is quickly absorbed into the bloodstream. For someone over 60, this matters more than ever. According to the National Institute on Aging and studies cited by the Mayo Clinic, aging reduces insulin sensitivity and slows glucose metabolism. That means blood sugar spikes happen more easily and resolve more slowly. When that spike happens, insulin rushes in, triggering inflammation, tightening blood vessels, and limiting circulation. Guess where you feel that first? Your legs. Poor circulation to the legs leads to fatigue, numbness, swelling, and a sensation of heaviness. All things my patients often described as walking through water. Now combine that with what bananas also do. They can cause water retention. Potassium is a double-edged sword. While it supports heart rhythm and nerve signaling, excessive potassium from rapid digestion, like from a ripe banana, can actually shift the balance of fluids in the body, especially in people with slower kidney function. And again, you feel this in your legs, swelling in the ankles, puffiness in the knees, a strange ache in the shins by afternoon. You might think it's from walking too much, but what if it's from what you ate before walking? Let me share a story, Mr. Harold, an 82-year-old retired engineer, came to my clinic with persistent swelling in his lower legs. His blood pressure was fine. His labs were normal. He was sharp, active, and followed a good diet, or so he thought. Every day he began his morning with a banana, a piece of toast, and a glass of orange juice. We changed only one thing, the banana. We swapped it for half an avocado sprinkled with cinnamon. Within 10 days, the swelling reduced. His morning walks became less painful. He even started dancing again at his senior center, something he had quietly stopped. I didn't know something so simple could make such a difference, he told me. That's the quiet power of the right change. Bananas also contain compounds called amines, including serotonin and dopamine precursors. For sensitive individuals, this can trigger migraines or slight nervous system effects. leading to shaky legs or restlessness. And here's another twist. Bananas are often eaten alone. We peel and eat them in the car, on a walk, or right before bed. But fruit like this, high in sugar, low in fat or protein, digests quickly, causing blood sugar swings that hit hardest during periods of inactivity, such as sleeping or sitting. This is why some seniors feel more achy in the mornings. The banana they ate the night before left their sugar levels crashing by dawn. So what's the solution? Do you have to give up bananas forever? Not at all. But here's what I recommend. Don't eat bananas alone. Always pair them with a fat or protein like almond butter or Greek yogurt. Avoid overripe bananas. The riper the banana, the higher the sugar content. Limit to half a banana at a time, or only eat them on days you're active. If you have known issues with leg swelling, joint stiffness, or blood sugar swings, try replacing bananas with berries or a small slice of pear. Remember, you're not punishing your body, you're partnering with it. You're listening to the quiet signals it's been sending and honoring them with compassion and care. The body is wise. Even in its complaints, it is telling you how to return to balance. The next time you reach for that yellow fruit, ask yourself, is this the energy I need or the ache I've been feeling? Because sometimes what looks soft and harmless is actually weighing you down. And the most surprising breakthroughs in our health don't come from prescriptions or procedures. They come from awareness, from choice, from the quiet victory of changing one fruit and reclaiming a day without pain. Have you ever enjoyed a handful of grapes while watching your favorite TV show, only to notice, later that evening, a burning ache in your knees or a strange stiffness creeping into your ankles? It feels like nothing changed. You didn't walk more, you didn't do anything out of the ordinary. But there it is, that nagging tightness, that strange heaviness in your legs. You stretch, you adjust your pillow, you wonder, is this just another part of aging? But the truth is, it might be the grapes. Yes, those sweet, juicy, seemingly harmless little fruits that we love to pop in our mouths like candy. Let's talk about what's really happening. Grapes are naturally high in fructose, a sugar that goes straight to the liver. Unlike glucose, which the body can burn for energy, fructose is more likely to be stored as fat or converted into uric acid. And here's where it gets concerning. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, and the Mayo Clinic both note that excessive uric acid in the bloodstream is one of the primary drivers of joint inflammation, especially in older adults. This isn't just theory. It shows up in very real, very painful ways. Swelling in the toes, burning in the knees, a pulsing sensation in the calves. And often, these symptoms appear not immediately after eating, but hours later when you've forgotten all about the snack. I recall a patient named Dorothy, 76 years old, vibrant, witty, and deeply frustrated by what she called her wandering pains. She had no consistent arthritis diagnosis, no visible injuries. But almost every week, a different joint would flare up. One week it was her left knee, the next her right ankle. "I just feel like my body is turning against me," she said. We reviewed her food log. Every afternoon she had a large bowl of grapes. We removed them. Within 3 weeks her symptoms had reduced by 70%. What's happening here is more than coincidence. It's chemistry. Fructose in grapes stimulates uric acid production. Uric acid settles in joints. And for many seniors, especially those with slower kidney function or borderline insulin resistance, this can lead to flare-ups of gout-like symptoms, even without an official gout diagnosis. But grapes don't stop there. Because of their size and sweetness, they're easy to overeat. A single handful turns into a bowl turns into 3 cups, And unlike high-fiber fruits, grapes don't signal fullness. So you just keep going until the sugar builds and the consequences begin. And let's not forget circulation. High-sugar fruits like grapes raise blood sugar quickly. For seniors, this means a sharper insulin response, tighter blood vessels, and poorer blood flow to the legs. This can result in afternoon leg fatigue, swelling in the feet by evening, a dull ache during long walks. You may not connect it to your grapes, but your body does. So what can you do? First, awareness. Know that grapes, while full of antioxidants and appealing in moderation, are a high-fructose fruit with a hidden edge. If you're dealing with unexplained joint discomfort, swelling, or stiffness, consider cutting grapes from your diet for 2 weeks. Notice what changes. Second, substitution. You don't have to give up the pleasure of snacking, but choose something more stable. Try berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. These have lower sugar, higher fiber, and gentler effects on blood sugar. Consider sliced cucumber or pear with a bit of cheese for fiber, hydration, and satisfaction. Even a few cherries, which help reduce uric acid, can be a smarter choice. Finally, portion control. If you love grapes and don't want to let them go, try this: freeze them. Frozen grapes take longer to eat and are harder to overconsume. Count out a single serving, about 15 grapes, and eat them slowly, not while distracted. Never eat them on an empty stomach. Remember, this isn't about fear. It's about respect for your body, your energy, and the wisdom it offers. Aching legs aren't just a side effect of getting older. They're a message. And when we listen, when we really pay attention, we start to find the piece we've been missing. So the next time you reach for that bunch of grapes, ask yourself, is this truly nourishment or is it nostalgia? Because the fruit that once made you feel young may now be the one keeping you from moving like you used to. And when we choose with awareness, even just once a day, we begin to walk with a lighter step. Have you ever bitten into a cold slice of watermelon on a hot summer day, only to find your ankles aching a few hours later or your legs feeling strangely heavy? You might have brushed it off as the heat, or blamed it on not drinking enough water. But what if the very fruit you chose to stay hydrated was actually draining your strength? Watermelon, it seems harmless, refreshing. It's over 90% water after all. It's a symbol of summer, of picnics and childhood. And it's low in calories, which makes it seem like the perfect snack for older adults watching their weight. But there's something you should know. That watery sweetness carries a hidden cost for aging bodies. Watermelon has one of the highest glycemic indexes of any fruit, meaning it spikes your blood sugar faster than you might think. And according to the American Diabetes Association and Mayo Clinic, blood sugar spikes in older adults are directly linked to poor circulation, nerve damage, and inflammation, especially in the legs and feet. Let me paint the picture. When you eat watermelon, the natural sugars rush into your bloodstream. Your body responds by releasing insulin, and if you're over 60, this response is often less efficient. The result? Sugar lingers longer. Insulin fluctuates more, and that imbalance causes inflammation. Where does inflammation hit hardest? Your joints, your blood vessels, your circulation. And again, the legs are the first to feel it. Aching calves, tingling in the feet. That feeling of tiredness in your knees after standing for just 10 minutes. This is not just discomfort. This is a message. Let me tell you about Miguel, a 67-year-old retired firefighter. Proud, strong, and used to doing his own yard work. He began experiencing persistent tightness in his thighs and occasional numbness in his toes. He thought it was just part of getting older. But when I asked him about his diet, he lit up. I love watermelon, Doc. I eat it almost every afternoon, keeps me cool. We paused it for 3 weeks. No medication, no therapy. Just a fruit swap, cucumbers, a few berries, and lemon water. The numbness faded, the tightness eased. I didn't realize something so watery could cause so much stiffness, he said. That's the power of awareness. Watermelon also lacks fiber, which means it digests quickly, giving your body no break to slow down sugar absorption. This is different from fruits like apples or pears, which contain fiber to buffer sugar's effects. Worse still, watermelon's refreshing nature makes it easy to overeat. You don't eat a single bite, you eat a slice. Then another. Then maybe another. And suddenly you've consumed the equivalent sugar of a soda without even knowing it. So what do? Do you banish watermelon forever? Not necessarily, but be smart. Keep your portion to one small wedge, pair it with a protein like a few almonds. Never eat watermelon on an empty stomach. Avoid it at night when circulation slows and sugar spikes do the most damage. And if your legs are already showing signs of distress, consider switching entirely. Hydration doesn't have to mean watermelon. Try coconut water, which restores electrolytes without the sugar spike. Try cucumbers, crisp, hydrating, and gentle. Even chia-infused lemon water can hydrate more effectively with no sugar crash. Because the goal is not just to hydrate, the goal is to heal. Your legs, your energy, your circulation, they deserve more than just empty sweetness. They deserve strength. And that strength begins not in your feet, but in your choices. Every slice, every snack, every small shift, it adds up. So the next time you reach for that red, juicy wedge, pause, ask your body, is this refreshment or is it resistance? Because with the right choices, you can keep your steps light, your legs steady, and your summers joyful without sacrificing your health. Have you ever woken up with your knees feeling unusually stiff? You swing your legs out of bed and try to stand, but there's a tightness, a slow resistance in your joints. You stretch, maybe blame the weather or yesterday's walk. But then it happens again the next morning, and the next. And all the while, you're starting your day the same way with a glass of orange juice or a peeled, vibrant orange on your breakfast plate. It feels like a healthy choice. It is a healthy choice for the right body at the right time in life. But as we age, our relationship with certain foods must evolve. Let's talk about oranges, bright, zesty, packed with vitamin C. These citrus fruits are beloved for their ability to boost immunity and brighten our mornings. But few people talk about what they do to our joints, especially aging ones. Citrus fruits like oranges are naturally high in citric acid. While this acid is fine in moderation for most, it can irritate tissues in those with joint sensitivities, arthritis, or declining kidney function. According to the National Institutes of Health and the Arthritis Foundation, excessive citric acid and fruit-derived sugars may contribute to increased inflammation in individuals over 60. The effect: morning stiffness that lasts longer than it used to, aching knees after sitting for too long, a strange heat or tightness in the hips, all potentially traced back to a fruit marketed as pure health. Let me tell you about Claire, a 74-year-old former school teacher. She loved her oranges, kept a bowl of them on her kitchen counter at all times. But her mornings became increasingly difficult. "It feels like I've rusted overnight," she said. We tried a 2-week orange hiatus. She swapped to pears, a handful of berries, and a few walnuts for her morning snack. By day 10, her knees felt freer. Her walks were smoother. "I feel like I can glide again," she told me. What changed? The inflammation had a chance to settle. Orange juice and whole oranges both contain not only acid but also significant natural sugar, which, when combined, can cause a perfect storm in aging joints. The sugar spikes blood glucose, the acid irritates joint linings, and the result is a body that wakes up stiffer, moves slower, and feels older than it should. It's not your fault. These fruits were good to us once. But aging shifts the balance. What once healed can now harm. Here's how you can adjust. Limit citrus fruits to no more than 3 times per week. Avoid drinking orange juice on an empty stomach. Pair citrus with anti-inflammatory companions like spinach, avocado, or oats. Stay hydrated throughout the day. Pure water helps flush acidic compounds more effectively. And most importantly, listen to your body. If your joints protest in the mornings, if your legs feel rusty before the day begins, it's time to reevaluate what's on your plate. Remember, food is not just fuel. It's either medicine or a slow poison. Each bite is a choice. So ask yourself, is this helping me move or holding me back? Because your mornings deserve to begin with ease. Your joints deserve peace. And you deserve the freedom to start your day without stiffness, without struggle, with lightness in every step. Have you ever picked up a crisp green apple, thinking it's the smarter, healthier option, only to feel a mysterious tightness in your knees or hips hours later? Maybe it was after your walk around the neighborhood. Or perhaps you bent down to tie your shoe and noticed your joints didn't bend as easily. You didn't fall. You didn't twist anything. But there it is again, the stiffness, the swelling, the discomfort. Could something so innocent, so clean and natural be behind it? Let's take a closer look at green apples, often seen as the good apple, tart, less sweet, lower in calories. But as we age, even good things need to be reevaluated. Green apples are high in malic acid, the compound that gives them their signature tang. While malic acid supports energy production in young, healthy cells, it can irritate the joints and digestive system of older adults, especially those who may already suffer from arthritis, joint inflammation, or sensitive stomachs. According to the National Institute on Aging and recent clinical reviews, excess dietary acid can exacerbate chronic inflammation in older individuals, particularly in those over 65. And in green apples, that acid is both concentrated and aggressive. You might not feel it right away, but over time, your joints start to whisper, "This isn't working for me anymore." Let me tell you about Robert, a 69-year-old former postman. He loved green apples, ate one every day around 3 p.m., calling it his afternoon fuel. But he came to me complaining of chronic hip stiffness, tight calves, and unpredictable leg cramps. We ran blood work. We adjusted supplements. Nothing changed, until we swapped his green apple habit for a small pear and a tablespoon of almond butter. 3 weeks in, his symptoms started to fade. "It's like my legs finally exhaled," he told me. Why? Because we reduced the daily acid load. Malic acid, while helpful in some contexts, becomes problematic when it overwhelms a system already struggling with inflammation or slower kidney clearance. Green apples also contain more sugar than most people think, just enough to spike blood sugar slightly, especially when eaten alone. That sugar-acid combo, it inflames tissues, it disrupts blood flow. It tightens joints and strains tendons, and over time your mobility pays the price. Here's what you can do. Limit green apples to 1-2 per week and never on an empty stomach. Pair them with a protein, a slice of cheese, a boiled egg, or a handful of seeds. Better yet, replace them with lower acid fruits like berries, papaya, or melon in moderation. You deserve to enjoy your snacks, but not at the cost of your comfort. Not every healthy food is healthy for you right now. So the next time you bite into that sour, shiny green skin, pause and listen to your body. Does it bring energy or exhaustion, relief or resistance? Because every joint, every tendon, every muscle is speaking, and you have the power to respond with kindness. Have you ever sunk your teeth into a soft, golden slice of mango, thinking you're treating yourself, only to feel heavy-legged and strangely drained just hours later? It happens more often than you think. You're sitting in your favorite chair, legs up, watching a little TV. Then you rise to grab something from the kitchen and feel that same creeping fatigue in your thighs or a slight tingle in your toes. It's subtle, but persistent. And it might just be your mango. Mangoes are known as the king of fruits in many cultures. Sweet, succulent, and packed with vitamins, they taste like sunshine. They feel like summer. But for people over 60, mangoes can quietly wreak havoc on the very parts of your body you need the most. Your legs, your joints, and your circulation. Here's why. Mangoes are among the highest sugar fruits you can eat. One medium mango contains nearly 45 grams of sugar. That's more than a can of soda. And even though it's natural sugar, your body processes it similarly to processed sugar, especially as you age. As the Mayo Clinic and the National Institute on Aging explain, older adults often experience slower insulin response and diminished metabolic flexibility. This means sugar stays longer in the bloodstream, causing more inflammation, more tissue damage, and more pain, especially in the joints and lower extremities. Let me tell you about Donna, a 72-year-old painter from New Mexico. She loved mangoes, blended them into smoothies, sliced them over cottage cheese, and even dried them for snacking. But she began noticing a strange numbness in her feet and a burning sensation in her knees after her afternoon walks. "I thought it was just arthritis," she said, but after we took a close look at her diet and paused the mangoes for 3 weeks, she called me in disbelief. "The swelling is gone. I feel like I got my knees back." The sugar in mangoes had been silently contributing to her discomfort all along. And here's the twist: mangoes don't feel heavy when you eat them. They're soft, juicy. They taste light, which tricks your brain into thinking they're gentle. But inside, your pancreas and blood vessels are working overtime. Every sugar spike causes a surge in insulin. Every insulin surge taxes your energy, and that cycle leads to chronic inflammation, especially in the legs where blood flow is slower, and where nerve endings are more vulnerable to sugar-related damage. Mangoes also contain compounds like urushiol, the same irritant found in poison ivy, which can cause subtle reactions in people who are sensitive, particularly affecting skin and circulation. So what can you do if you love mangoes? You don't have to ban them forever. But you should be mindful, never eat more than half a mango in one sitting. Always pair mangoes with fat or protein like avocado or a spoonful of Greek yogurt. Avoid mango smoothies. Blended fruits enter the bloodstream faster. Choose green, less ripe mangoes which have less sugar. Better yet, opt for alternatives. Try papaya, which supports digestion and inflammation reduction. Or reach for a few slices of kiwi, tart, fiber-rich, and far lower in sugar. Even cantaloupe in small amounts hydrates without the sugar shock. Remember, what's sweet on your tongue may be sour on your joints. And as you age, your body whispers. It tells you what it needs. It tells you what no longer serves it. You just have to listen. And when you do, when you make those small changes, your legs feel lighter. Your steps grow steadier. And your days regain the ease you thought was gone. Because your future doesn't live in pain. It lives in power. What if the very fruits that once caused pain could be replaced by fruits that bring healing? What if every bite you took could actually soothe your joints, calm inflammation, and strengthen your legs? Because here's the truth. Not all fruits are equal, especially not when you're over 60. In fact, some fruits are like medicine in disguise, quiet warriors of wellness. Let's explore the ones your body is quietly craving. Let's begin with berries, tiny fruits with mighty power. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries are not just sweet. They are anti-inflammatory champions. According to the Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins Medicine, berries contain polyphenols and anthocyanins, compounds proven to reduce inflammation, support blood flow, and enhance cognitive function. That means less joint stiffness, better circulation to your legs, and clearer mornings without that foggy fatigue. I had a patient, Harold, 76 years old, a retired jazz pianist with swollen ankles and nightly leg cramps. He swapped out his daily banana for a cup of mixed berries. Within 2 weeks, his swelling was down and his nights peaceful. He said, "I can feel my ankles again." Next up, cherries. Yes, cherries, especially tart cherries. They are rich in anthocyanins and melatonin, helping not only with inflammation, but also sleep. Several studies, including those from the Arthritis Foundation and NIH, have confirmed that tart cherries help reduce uric acid levels, a major culprit in gout and joint pain. A small handful a day is enough to lower your risk of flare-ups, soothe achy knees, and help you sleep more deeply. Then there's papaya, soft, orange, and gentle. Unlike mangoes, papayas are lower in sugar and contain papain, an enzyme that helps with digestion and inflammation. Papaya is kind to your gut, easy on your joints, and naturally hydrating. For many older adults, digestion slows and inflammation builds in the belly. Papaya offers gentle support where it's most needed. Now let's talk about avocado. Yes, it's a fruit. Rich in monounsaturated fats, potassium, and vitamin E, avocados are like nature's joint lubricant. They support heart health, balance blood sugar, and most importantly, reduce internal inflammation. One avocado every few days, paired with leafy greens or whole grains, helps cushion your joints from the inside out. Even pears deserve a mention. Often overlooked, pears are rich in fiber, vitamin C, and water. They're mild, easy to digest, and when paired with a protein, they won't spike blood sugar. Their gentle sweetness brings balance. Their fiber supports digestion, and their antioxidants reduce stiffness over time. I often recommend sliced pear with cottage cheese as a late afternoon snack. It satisfies without sabotage. Here's a simple guide. Eat more of these healing fruits: blueberries, raspberries, tart cherries, papaya, avocado, pears. Avoid or limit these high-risk fruits: mangoes, green apples, oranges, watermelon, grapes, bananas, pineapples. The goal isn't to fear fruit. It's to choose the ones that love you back. Every time you make a supportive choice, you tell your body, "I hear you, I'm working with you." And your body responds with more energy, more balance, and more comfort. Let your plate reflect your power. Let your fruit bowl become your pharmacy. Because at this stage of life, healing isn't about extremes, it's about wisdom. And a single handful of berries, a slice of papaya, or a creamy spoonful of avocado can be a step toward freedom. In the final part, we'll wrap it all together, and I'll share the daily fruit ritual I use with my patients and myself to reduce pain, support circulation, and bring strength back to tired legs. So here we are at the end of a journey that started with a question about weak legs and led us into the colorful, sometimes surprising world of fruit and how it shapes our strength. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Truly, because that tells me you care deeply about your body, your future, your independence. And as someone who's spent over 30 years walking beside seniors through their health journeys, I can tell you that care, that willingness to learn. It's powerful. Let's take a moment to reflect. We started by uncovering 7 fruits that, while often praised for their health benefits, can quietly undermine your leg strength, inflame your joints, and disrupt your circulation if you're over 60. Pineapple, acidic and a potential trigger for inflammation. Bananas, too much sugar and can lead to fluid retention. Grapes, loaded with fructose, which builds uric acid. Watermelon, deceptively sweet with a high glycemic index. Oranges, packed with citric acid that can aggravate joints. Green apples, acidic with hidden sugars. Mangoes, a sugar bomb wrapped in tropical sunshine. And then we pivoted to hope. We explored the fruits that heal rather than harm, blueberries, rich in antioxidants that fight inflammation. Cherries, excellent for reducing uric acid and joint pain. Avocados, full of healthy fats and blood sugar balancing power. Papaya, soothing, enzyme-rich and easy on the gut. Pears, gentle on the stomach and steady on the sugar. Kiwis, loaded with vitamin C and naturally calming. Cantaloupe, hydrating and safe for blood sugar. Each one a quiet promise of better mornings and lighter steps. This isn't just about fruit. It's about tuning in, about listening to what your body has been gently telling you through swelling, through aches, through nighttime cramps, and responding with kindness. No shame, no guilt. Just awareness and smarter choices. Because the truth is, it's never too late to pivot. Every meal is a chance to nourish your future self. Every bite is a vote for strength, for stability, for clarity. Here's what you can do next. If this video resonated with you, if you found even one piece of advice that made you stop and think, then let's keep this momentum going. Here are 3 things you can do right now to keep your health moving in the right direction. 1. Subscribe to Senior Health Hub. Because we're building a place where science meets simplicity, and where seniors like you can find trustworthy, compassionate advice that meets you where you are. 2. Like this video, it helps more people over 60 find the information they need to stay strong, stay mobile, and stay hopeful. 3. Share this with a friend or loved one, maybe someone who's been struggling with unexplained leg pain, or who still believes that all fruit is automatically healthy. You might just change their life. We'd love to hear from you. We say this every time, but we mean it. We love hearing from you. Leave us a comment below. What's one fruit you're going to add or remove from your diet? Have you experienced leg pain or stiffness from any of these? What's your favorite way to stay strong after 60? Let us know your thoughts, and don't be shy. Your comment might be the one that helps someone else feel seen, understood, and empowered. This is more than just a YouTube channel. It's a community, a gathering place for people who want to grow wiser, not just older. A gentle closing thought. You are not powerless in the face of age. Your body is still listening, still healing, still adapting. And with every intentional choice, from what you put on your plate to how you move through your day, you are writing a new chapter. A chapter of strength, of clarity, of joy. So keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep believing that your best days aren't behind you. They're standing right in front of you, waiting. And we'll be right here, walking alongside you every step of the way. Until next time, this is Senior Health Hub, where your strength, your voice, and your well-being matter. Stay strong, stay kind to yourself. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone you love. Your next step starts now.